This just in, as you can see, Matt Norlander has a haircut. And Matt, how does it feel? You look clean today, my friend.
New cut for the month, got it going. Listen, March is here, so thank you to my next door neighbor who happens to be a hairstylist. Got it done, and I'm psyched to go, man. What a huge, huge night that was in college basketball, setting up for clearly a huge week before we get to Selection Sunday.
All right, so you got the hair done. Baylor getting it done on the court, claiming their first conference title since the 50s. Bounce back win for them. What did you see from the Bears last night?
I saw some inspiring play. They got out to a great start in that game. West Virginia punched back. Sean McNeil of West Virginia, he feels fated to hit a huge shot this month in the NCAA tournament. Just that kind of player. Taz Sherman came up big as well. But for Baylor, you see Matthew Meyer there making a huge play. I tell you what, on the road, get this win, clinch the Big 12, first conference tournament since 1950. Shouts to Bill Henderson, the last coach to do that for Baylor. Weirdly enough, took Baylor to 2 Final Fours and finished with a sub-500 record. Scott Drew's not doing that. Look at this. This is the kind of highlight, by the way, that lives in forever if it's an NCAA tournament highlight. So great on them. Baylor's back for sure. In my opinion, locked up a #1 seed. It was always going to have that anyway, but getting this, if they were to weirdly lose their next 2 home games and drop one in the Big 12, they've done enough now. They're going to be a 1 seed. Huge, huge gains for that team. And I was particularly impressed with Davion Mitchell and how he played.
Baylor improves to 4-0 against top 10 teams in the country there. Meanwhile, Illinois, they didn't get it done against Michigan. Without Ayo Dosunmu, actually did. They did it without their best player. Any chance that they can claim that #1 seed? Are they safe? They're sitting there now, but is it for sure with them?
It's not quite for sure, but man, the way that Illinois did this without Dosunmu was so impressive. I mean, it was at one point almost a 30-point margin here. Trent Frazier has maybe the game of his life, and he's been a very solid 4-year player for Illinois, but for going for 22, 4 boards, handled the ball well. I mean, what a big win. Here's how this shakes out right now in the net right now, Wednesday morning. Gonzaga 1, Baylor 2, Michigan 3, Illinois 4. And Illinois has 9, look at this, 9 quad 1 wins, okay? Easily on the 1 line right now. It's not for sure a thing. It's still got to play Ohio State. I would think Iowa, Alabama, and Ohio State are the 3 teams that could still theoretically jockey to get to the 1 line. But if Illinois wins at Ohio State this weekend, it's a lock. We have our 4 1 seeds. If it were to lose, then the Big Ten tournament will offer us some interesting stuff. I just think that Michigan win is going to carry so much value. Bizarre loss for Michigan, by the way. Michigan looked like the way it treated other teams across the past 2.5 months there. Illinois, that they did that without Dosunmu is a huge, huge thing. That's going to be a very trendy Final Four pick, the Fighting Illini, and rightfully so.
Illinois trending in the right direction. Georgia Tech, you can say the same thing for them. 5 straight wins. Our Jerry Palm has them as an 11 seed in his latest projection. What does this win against Duke do for them?
Palm's got it right on the money. Georgia Tech's got to be projected into every single bracket field that's out there right now. This was humongous. Moses, listen, they are on track. They're not a lock. They got to dodge calamity against Wake Forest this weekend. Beat Wake Forest, and I think you're going to be able to get in no matter what here. I have to shout out Moses Wright. In his past 3 games, which have all been wins, he's averaging about 28 and 12. He's been the best player in the ACC across the past 2 weeks. Georgia Tech has been really quite good. And listen, we need thick Josh Pastner, and I say that lovingly, THICC, thick Josh Pastner in the NCAA tournament with the face shield. He's the only power conference coach that has embraced this look the entire year. I need that in the first round in my life. I think Georgia Tech's going to get there.
Yeah, looking like Andy Reid with the face shield you mentioned there. Looking at Duke, though, their second straight loss, 10 losses on the year. You're talking about you need Georgia Tech in the tournament. Duke doesn't look too good, but if you're looking ahead, are they done? Do they need to win the ACC championship? What needs to happen the rest of the way if they're still thinking about tournament time?
Okay, I can't say this next part enough, so hear me now, listen to me later. No one team's results live on an island to themselves. They don't exist in a vacuum. What you do in relation to the bubble or getting a 1 seed can depend on the action and activity of teams around you. So I cannot definitively say that Duke is out of this. I can't say that it must absolutely win the ACC tournament to get in at this point. If it were to win at North Carolina this weekend, and then make it as far as the ACC championship game, if we got to that point, Brandon, I think we would have an interesting discussion about Duke maybe getting in. Winning the ACC tournament would obviously give them the auto bid. Does the NCAA tournament need Duke this year? Frankly, no, it doesn't. This is a weird spot. Duke has never been on the bubble since Mike Krzyzewski's been there. They've always either been in or for sure been out in his early years. And guess what? We've gone almost 2 years without an NCAA tournament. So if there was ever a year where the NCAA tournament did not need Duke, it's the one following the year when we didn't have a tournament to begin with. We're all dying to get there. Less than 2 weeks till Selection Sunday.
But before we get there, if you're looking at Duke, does it start, if we're looking at the tournament, does it start with UNC, their last game on the road of the season?
Absolutely. I mean, if they don't beat UNC, they have to win the auto bid. They have to win the ACC tournament. If you don't beat UNC, then there's no room for error. That would be a quality quad one victory for Duke. If it beat Carolina on the road this weekend, it absolutely has to if it want to have any chance at squeaking in. And if it were to squeak in and not win the auto bid, I think that is a first four situation. And if that were to happen, obviously Duke playing in the first four on that opening Thursday would give the NCAA tournament its most high profile, opening act in first four history.
All right, things should be interesting the closer we get to March. And look, new haircut, Matt Norlander, who this? Appreciate you as always. Take care, my friend. Don't forget, you can catch him on the Eye of College Basketball podcast along with our Gary Parrish breaking it down. The number one seeds continue to shuffle. Illinois in the conversation, Baylor and Michigan. Should get interesting the closer we get. Download, subscribe, and listen to the fellas the closer we get to tournament time.
Want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis. No yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.